Good evening and welcome to our council meeting this evening. Mayor Bankin was unable to attend, and so Mary Ann Pointer, as Mayor Pro Tem, will be in charge. So please help me out, council members. If you see I miss something or misspeak, please help me, okay? Because I'm not used to doing this. Let's start with pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Aaron, would you take roll, please?
Councilmember Sherburne,
Yes.
Councilmember Gray,
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt,
Here.
Councilmember Dittrich,
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Here. Okay, first thing we need to do is approve the agenda. Tim, Aaron, any
I have no changes at this
changes?
time.
Anybody else have any changes they'd like to make?
I move to approve.
Okay,
second that.
So Linda? Yes. Brian?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, the next thing we have is our public input. Please state your name and address for the record before proceeding with your comments. Individual remarks are limited to 5 minutes, with the overall public input period limited to 30 minutes. Under Iowa Open Meetings Law, City Council can take no formal action on comments given during the public input period which do not relate to action items on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one, I will close the input and let's move on to the consent agenda. First thing that we have on the consent agenda is the approval of the minutes of the January 13th regular city council meeting. Second thing is the resolution approving our bills. The third is the resolution or acknowledging receipt of city minutes, and that would be the airport commission meeting. The fourth is a resolution approving a salary resolution, and this is for Michael Kephart, who is a student at West Delaware. He's a part of the multi-occupational careers class, and he will be working with Park and Rec part-time. I think it's a really exciting thing to bring one of our kids in, so I'm excited to see how that works. 3.5, we have an ordinance fixing and establishing grades on several streets as listed in the ordinance in the city of Manchester. This is our second reading, had the first reading 2 weeks ago. This is something that we have to do. We have no choice. It just has to be approved. 3.6 is a resolution amending the employee handbook. And this one I'm gonna ask Tim to speak to a little bit. It's kind of an interesting new idea, and I think that it's good that people hear what you're doing.
Yeah, so this is an employee assistance program, and basically, this is a way for the city to offer employees help. Whether they need assistance because they have a problem with addiction, maybe they're having some problems maritally and they need some counseling. Maybe they're just going through a tough time in their life and they need someone to talk to. Financially, if they want to talk to a financial advisor on how they can look and plan on things. Maybe they're looking for childcare. And so this group would be able to help them find childcare as well. So really, this is a great way for us to reach out and provide assistance to our employees if they need it. Because if an employee is struggling with things at home, they're not as productive here. This really kind of bore out of the discussions we had with our fire and EMS, what things that they sometimes see and have to deal with. And so if we're looking to do this with fire and EMS, let's do this citywide. And so this inexpensive, great way for us to partner with this. Yeah, the League of Cities works with them in conjunction. So to me, this was a great way for us to be able to offer some assistance to our employees. And it is confidential.
And it would include the fire department and city council.
As a matter of fact, my
as well,
packets
too.
were on my desk.
So,
So, but they get up to 3 hours of counseling, in-person counseling a year. And hopefully get some guidance if they need that.
I think it's really important with the problems that we're having with healthcare right now with mental health situation. So it's a great idea. Okay, can I have a motion to approve, and then we will go back and discuss anything that you'd like to talk about.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I'll second
Any questions, anything that people would like to talk about?
If I can expand on, what Michael,
Yes.
Gephardt.
Gephardt, thank you. The multi-occupational careers class. This is a class being offered to, West Delaware. Michael has an interest in Parks and Recreation. He's been a lifeguard for us for two summers. So that's the reason we're bringing him in at his lifeguard class status. He'll work an hour and a half, 4 days a week, 1 hour on Wednesdays, which is their shortened day. Working with JJ Davis in the Parks Department, getting things touched up, taken care of, and working with them occasionally as well, learning more about the recreational field. And so this is a 7-week program.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Anything else that anyone would like to discuss? You ready for a vote? Bill,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. Okay, let's move on to public hearings. We have a public hearing tonight on the proposed amendment to the urban renewal plan for the Manchester urban renewal area. So I would like to open the public meeting at 5:06. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Tim, would you like to talk first?
Sure.
Let us all know what we're doing.
Yep, so again, this is the Oakview subdivision area. Working with Steve Cutland. We did this last time when we did phase 1. Phase 2 is going to be similar. We are setting this up as potential for us to use urban renewal plan money tip to finance or pay back the bonds we're issuing. We haven't finalized quite yet with everything we're doing. So we have to go through this process if there's any thought about us using TIP. In order for us to be able to use TIP, we have quite the process to go through, and that entails doing the plan amendment and then urban plan renewal area. So what we're looking at with SR construction is 18 single-family home lots with lot B identified as a stormwater management area. This would be their pooling area. There has been some discussions with the developer about turning that into a multi-purpose lot with not only just stormwater management, but also for park area. I don't like really having one thing, a single use area that doesn't benefit us a whole lot. So working with Jason Wanger and Burlington Group, trying to identify a way, because I think we're, is it acre and a half?
Yeah, it's probably, yeah, a little bit.
First pole in there, right? No, this will be on the northeast corner. Phase 2 is where it'll be, so it'll be a shallow, full dimension area. Because of the size of it, we don't have to go as deep, and that'll allow us to sit there. It'll be wet when it's, wet out, it's raining, but otherwise it'll dry and still have a place for us to use. So we can place some park amenities in that location and have a park in that area of town, where we don't currently have one.
The park would be open to all
Absolutely.
citizens. It's not, even though it's within this area. It would be open to everyone.
Yeah, it would
not
be
just
different than the others.
kids.
Correct.
Anything else?
Just again, the purpose of this, is to provide for the infrastructure that's going in for that residential housing subdivision. This will be the streets, water, sewer, storm sewer, sidewalks. There does not appear to be any trails at this point on the north side. We have at least discussed that point. East-west, because it wouldn't really tie into anything right now with the lot the way it is. We do have a trail extension down off of Oakview that ties on the trails down there, but this is setting it up for future development later on as we go back towards Bailey Drive and then towards the east, in future.
Any questions from anyone in the public? Any of you? If not, I'd like to close the public hearing at 5:09. And let's move on to 5.2. This is a resolution to approve the urban renewal plan amendment for the Manchester urban renewal area. Okay, now explain what we're doing this time, Tim.
Okay, in order for us to move forward with our use of TIF, tax increment financing, we have to set a date, Excuse me.
No, this is.
So we're approving,
We're approving.
we are approving the amendment in our urban renewal plan. So we've already had the hearing on it, now it's time to approve the plan amendment.
Okay, so I need a second, motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Okay, questions, anything anybody would like to talk about? Hearing nothing, Bill,
Yes.
Ryan,
Yes.
Linda, yes. Joe,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, the next thing we have is a resolution approving the development agreement with SNR Construction. One more time, Jim.
Yep, so this is again, talking about phase two of the estate subdivision, the 18 lot single family. Subdivision, with the 19th lot being for the stormwater management. This is the agreement that we put in place, we have with with Steve on his first development. We are reimbursing him for the cost of the infrastructure going in place, the water, the sewer, the street, storm sewer. Half of that is a grant. The other half is a forgivable loan. He has to build out and generate enough revenue off of the property taxes to offset that forgivable loan portion. Anything that's not offset is due back to the city. So this is a performance clause that puts in there to make sure we're getting something out of our money that we're going to place on this.
It's a not to exceed.
Not to exceed $1 million. So 500,000 would be a grant, 500,000 would be a loan, forgivable loan, excuse me.
Thank you. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
Brian, I heard him first, okay?
Second.
You the second. Okay. Questions? Or discussion?
No question, but as much as how fast he built that out, I think he's gonna put these other 18. It'd be nice to have a little park back there if they get that.
Yeah, it will be a nice addition to that area. Again, trying to find a way to connect it up to Delhi Road and the other subdivisions on the north side there. But again, that's an area that does not have a lot of sidewalks, but the new subdivisions are required, so they're able to get in there. Once we get onto that trail, connect onto that subdivision through a sidewalk system.
Nice. Very nice.
Having that park, I know there is some children on that subdivision and daycare, so it'll be nice, you know, to be able to have a park there.
Yeah, right now, I think the school bus stops and picks up 10 to 12 kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot more kids out there than I even realized until I was talking to a coworker that said the same thing, so.
Yeah.
See, I like the idea of the park there because if I were a parent, I would like a place where the kids can go, that they're away from traffic.
You know,
And that'd be a great place for kids to go on their own because they wouldn't be as close to traffic as they are like at Baum and, you know, some other places.
the location of
I
that
think it
park.
would be a great, yeah. So excited. Anything else? Okay, Brian,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Linda? Yes. And I also vote yes. Okay, the next thing we need to do is to move into our regular agenda items. And the first one, 6.1, is a resolution setting the date for the sale of general obligation corporate purpose bonds, series 2025A, and authorizing the use of preliminary official statement in connection thereof. Now, the next one's going to sound awfully familiar too, so Tim, explain the difference between them, please.
So resolution 10 and resolution 11, both set the date for public hearing on a bond
For the sale,
for the sale of bonds.
Sale.
they've already held the public
Yeah,
hearing.
we looked at it. So the sale of the bonds. We are combining the two bonds into one sale. So one set of bonds is tax exempt. Those are the ones that we're doing the grants on. The forgivable loan is a taxable bond. So there will be two different rates, one for the tax exempt bonds and one for the taxable bonds. So resolution 10 will set February 10th as the date for the sale of the general obligation corporate purpose bonds. It does say 1.5 million, both of those, but that's because that's the combined rate. Again, Aaron and I are working on this. We anticipate it to be less than that. But that's where the not to exceed portion comes into play.
I think the actual amount is 1.34.
That's correct.
That'll be that one. Some more. but attorneys always like to set a question. So this saves us money by combining them rather than doing them as two separate issues. It saves us legal fees and, bonding agent fees and financial advisor fees, so.
And at the value amount we're at, our local banks can participate in that.
And they've been very good about their
Yeah.
percentages that they've been giving us. Okay, so I need a motion in a second, please.
I'll make a motion to adopt, the resolution 1025.
Linda, okay, any other discussion? Okay, Bill,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, let's move on to 6.2. You've kind of heard what it is. So I think we're probably ready for a motion in a second.
Make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion on this one? Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Linda, yes, Bill,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, 6.3 on our regular agenda items. This is a resolution approving the contract with Dubuque Hardwoods for the compost site maintenance. We have been under a contract for several years now with T&W Grinding. Their proposal that they gave to us was the same as previous years. Their contract ended at the end of December of 24, and so we need to set up a new contract with someone. Dubuque Hardwoods has some different ideas that they're gonna be using, and it's going to give us a little different way to deal with the compost and so on. So Tim, could you explain that?
So Jason Hay did reach out with TW Grinding and Dubuque Hardwoods to come in and look at this. Dubuque Hardwoods does a lot of grinding and making mulch. So they're doing this type of work in other cities. So a lot of them are in Illinois, because they're right in Dubuque, so they're close by there. What they propose is a flat contract rate of $43,000 per year, which is basically what we were paying TW Grinding. Dubuque Hardwood, though, does not have any cost adders, meaning if diesel fuel gets above $4 a gallon, we had an additional cost through TW Grinding. That's not there in this place with Dubuque Hardwoods. Dubuque Hardwoods would haul off any excess materials that we do not need. We've been hauling off quite a bit of stuff that we can't process, and spending man hours and time doing that. So this would alleviate that issue for us. They are able to come in and chop up some of the larger stuff that we see that we've been hauling off because we just can't manage it. They will leave some of the firewood that we can set out. We won't cut it down into firewood pieces, but we'll leave the logs there that are usable by most people here in town. Basically, if it's an 18-inch log or smaller, a lot of people around here will cut it up. When we get to the bigger logs and trunks and stuff, they won't, because it's just too intensive to handle it. So we'll work with them on that. There's potential we can work with them to get certified mulch. That is what we use to place in the fall zones through our parks. And then talking with them, you know, there may be some potential that we have a couple of other large lots in town that have a lot of ash trees are dying. Working with a couple of private property owners, so that set up and grind on their locations, and then they would haul that stuff off. So we're not hauling stuff down at the compost site, trying to grind it there and then hauling it back out. We've had some issues in the past where, you know, that site facility got filled up and you just couldn't use it, so. We'd like to give this a try. I think there's gonna be some differences here on how we handle things, but I'd like to see us give it a shot.
And the initial term is 2 years.
2 years, correct.
2 years.
How often would they go and grind?
They're twice a year as needed.
Is that what?
Or, well, if we need more than that, they'll come in and grind more than that. T&W comes in about 2 or 3 times a year to grind.
And then that would not change the current schedule of when we put compost or mulch out?
No, that won't change it. What we have quite a bit of screening materials that need to be finished. So we're trying to clean up that compost area. They'll haul off some of that stuff that we don't need anymore, or it's just too much for us to maintain.
And so T&W, flex back that they would like to offer hallway or
No,
anything?
no,
just-
they're extremely busy. I know a number of other cities use T&W grading and, it's just difficult to get them in because again, it's timing. Every city wants it done in the same week. We're not unhappy with T&W grading, and, you know, things aren't working with Harwood, we'll go back to them again. It's just difficult, but right now, where we saw some additional costs on fuel surcharges, storm debris, those are things that really brought our costs up.
So I need a motion, please,
I would like to move that we approve contract and done.
and I need a second.
I'll say.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, any other discussion?
Sounds like a good idea.
I think so too. I do appreciate everything T and W has done for us. You know, they've been good to work with and everything. It's just one of those things. It's time to move on to a different.
Well,
We'll
we'll
see
try
what
to
happens.
cover our cost and see what we get.
Right.
You said Dubuque will also cut some of that, I mean, the other day when I took brush out, there was huge stuff. They'll
Yeah.
cut that down and
We
leave
let
it.
it haul
Or,
it off.
well, they'll cut it down.
Yeah, because that stuff isn't stuff most people will use up because it's so big and awkward. So they'll cut it down to what they can haul off in their trucks. Because they do work in different areas, they're hauling stuff back to their facility, so they can grind it over there to turn it into mulch. A lot of the stuff here, they'll just cut up, haul
Yeah, good deal.
Anything else? Okay, Linda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I also do, yes. Okay, the last thing on our regular agenda items is the motorcycle trials. And these are the trials that we have been holding here for many years. I don't know how many years now, several anyway. Down at the Whitewater Park, and then they've expanded it now to also use SRAM.
Mhm.
So, they would like to come and do it again. And so this is, Doug Foley's request that we allow them to come and do this.
Not really my style of riding, but I definitely support going down the one. So
Would you like to make a
I
motion on
make a
that?
motion is. to
Oh, okay,
approve.
thank you, Joe.
Of course, first gotta support the two wheels.
I'll second that.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so any discussion on it? I have seen no problems with it myself. I think it's a fun activity and I don't ride it either, but.
Yeah, yeah, it's just not my style, that's too technical, but it's.
off. Just because the Harley won't do it.
No, nor will my dirt bikes.
And he wants to sit down. You can't do that.
No, it does bring in 60 to 70 riders from 5 and 6 states around us, and so it's a great asset for us to be able to bring in market in Manchester. We have been in a couple different motorcycle magazines because of this activity, this event going on, so it's a great way for us to promote the community.
Another way to use a whitewater park too.
Mhm.
How many people think come to that? I'm really going down to it.
Oh,
There's a lot down there.
I was down there last year and I would say it's gotta be pretty close to the same as what it brings for the car shows that we run.
Mhm.
yeah,
It's fun to watch them go.
But it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the really nice thing is like when you sit at Riverbend, you can
and watch from there.
have a couple of adult beverages and watch them guys do it. So.
well, you know, one of the concerns, you know, we had people mention was the noise, because motorcycles can be loud, especially earlies. But honestly, with these bikes, when they rev up, they're not bad at all. You can just be right next to them and watch them, it's entertaining.
What time does it start usually? Is it morning,
It's
afternoon?
mid-morning, it's like
Yeah.
9 o'clock, I wanna say, or something.
Yeah.
And it's usually wrapped up early afternoon, you
Yeah.
know, like by 4, I would say, almost even.
Doug has usually asked us to come down if we want to, so we can hear the rules and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sure he will be inviting us again, Linda, so.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's.
Give it a try.
It's gonna be.
It's like the ninth year?
Yes, 9:30.
Thank you.
Yep, that's awesome.
How many guys for?
Showing your age when you do that. Okay, so think we're ready to vote? Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, engineer updates. Jason, got anything? Okay, well, that was easy. Jim, welcome back.
Yeah,
How was skiing?
it was skiing in 11 below, wind chill. It was wonderful, just dressed for it. But I had a relative show up from out of state right when I was getting ready to leave for here, so I was a little late. But I have nothing else to report.
Tim?
Again, just a reminder, we will be a city council meeting or budget work session Monday night. Aaron and I are, as of right now, still on speaking terms. Things are going okay. It's just trying to get things organized. Difficult time of year, trying to get everything situated.
And Chad will be at that meeting to go through, since he had been sick at the previous one.
We'll have a few more, departments to go through and we'll talk about debt, we'll talk about capital improvement plan again, just highlight some of that stuff that we need to talk to. We'll talk about water and sewer rates and what we're doing there, so, really kind of working our way to get that wrapped up. Other than that, I did send out a memo to the council. I'm gonna start doing that on a bi-weekly process. You'll get it the Friday before the city council meeting, so you have good information as well for the council meetings. And if you have any questions for me, feel free to send off to me and ask things. That's all I have.
Aaron?
Nothing.
Brian? Linda?
Have you found out what the decibels were, those fans?
I have not heard back from them. I will send them an email again tomorrow and see if I can get a response.
Okay.
I don't know if they haven't made a decision on which fans they're using yet. I don't know, just some
Okay.
positions.
So,
I'll find out.
let's not find out. That's all I have.
Joe?
I'm just excited to see the trails coming back. I got excited when I seen it on the agenda, so. I'm glad he does it. I know the promoters go through a lot of work to put stuff on like that, so.
Bill?
Nothing.
I was just gonna mention your update, Tim. We had done that a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and I was disappointed when we kind of stopped doing that, so I'm glad to see that you're doing it again, because I do think it's helpful. It's a good way to get information out to us, and I know during seasons when we were doing road work before, you were able to put in some pictures to kind of give us an idea of where we were at and so on, so.
We'll work on that, make sure we get that information back out to the council.
I know it's one more thing to do, but I appreciate it, so thank you for doing it. Okay. We need to go into closed session, so sorry, I'm gonna ask everyone except the council and Ben to leave.
We need a motion first.
Yes, we do.
I'll make
Need a
a-
motion, okay.
I'll try to-
Okay. So Joe,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I also vote yes. So, sorry, guys. Okay, we have gone out of closed session. And we are now looking for a motion to adjourn. Brian, I will take a motion from you, Linda, a second, and we are adjourned.